Let's say it plainly. Touching yourself isn't something shameful. It's something human. And after 60, it's not only okay, it can be an important part of your health. But no one tells us that. No one tells us that our bodies change, that the familiar rhythms of intimacy shift with time. Most men carry these questions in silence, and in that silence, doubt grows. You start wondering, is this still safe? Am I doing something wrong? Is it normal that it doesn't feel the same anymore? I want to speak to that quiet confusion, not with judgment, not with hype, but with truth, experience, and care. Over the years in my practice, I've had many conversations behind closed doors. Some of the most important ones are the ones that start with a pause, a throat clear, a glance at the floor. That's when I know a man is about to ask something he's carried for far too long. One of those men was Frank, 67, a widower, 2 grown children who'd moved out of state, sharp mind, gentle eyes, a man who'd seen a lot of life. When he came into my office, it wasn't about prostate screening or cholesterol. He leaned forward, lowered his voice, and said, "Doc, this is embarrassing, but I'm not sure I'm doing this right anymore." There was no laugh in his voice, no crude joke to cover his discomfort, just the quiet honesty of a man who'd spent decades knowing his body and now suddenly felt like a stranger in it. Frank wasn't looking for performance tips or anything flashy. He just wanted to understand why things felt different, why the release was duller, and why, afterward, he sometimes felt more sadness than relief. And maybe most importantly, he wanted to know if something was wrong with him. It's a question I wish more men would ask, because the truth is, the terrain does shift. After 60, the male body undergoes a series of changes that are as real as they are rarely discussed. Blood flow becomes more limited, especially to the pelvic region. The vessels that once filled with ease now take longer to respond. The skin becomes thinner and less hydrated, which can alter sensation. The nerves, particularly those tied to sexual response, may not carry the same intensity of signal they once did. And then there's the prostate, that quiet little walnut-sized gland tucked behind the bladder. As we age, it often grows, sometimes subtly, sometimes aggressively. But even small changes in the prostate can affect the way orgasm feels, making it shorter, less forceful, or followed by a strange ache that lingers. It's like an old but beloved car. It still runs beautifully, but you don't slam on the gas like you did at 20. You listen to it. You warm it up before taking it out. You learn how it likes to move. And when something feels off, you pay attention. Not with fear, but with respect. That's the mindset I want to offer. Not shame, not embarrassment, just awareness. Because the more you understand your changing body, the more power you have to care for it. One of the biggest mistakes men make, Frank included, is trying to force things to feel like they used to. They grip tighter, move faster, chase after an intensity that now requires a different kind of attention. This can lead to subtle injuries, micro tears in the skin, especially if it's dry or thinning. Over time, too much pressure can actually dull sensation, not heighten it. I've seen men in their 70s with decreased penile sensitivity, not because of age alone, but because of decades of overly aggressive technique. The body tries to protect itself from what it sees as trauma, even if that trauma comes from your own hand. The irony is, the very thing these men are trying to reclaim, pleasure, is what they're pushing further away. When your body asks for slowness and you rush it, it shuts down. Not out of rebellion, out of self-protection. There's a better way, but it requires patience and a shift in mindset. Instead of trying to recreate the teenage rush, what if the goal wasn't speed at all? What if you thought of the experience like steeping tea, gently warming the water, letting it bloom, appreciating the subtlety instead of the fire? That's when the real connection begins. That's when your body stops bracing and starts listening back. Another pattern I see often, especially among men over 60, is ignoring signals from the prostate. These are often quiet at first, a dull ache in the pelvis after climax, a sudden urgency to urinate that wasn't there before, a strange pressure that lingers for a few hours. Many brush it off. Just getting older, they say. Or worse, they push through it, toughing it out the way we were taught to. But these symptoms are the body's way of whispering something important. The prostate is intimately involved in ejaculation, and when it becomes enlarged or inflamed, it can distort the sensation, cause discomfort, and even interrupt the flow of urine. Over time, ignoring these signs can lead to more serious issues: chronic pelvic pain, urinary retention, even infection. The most dangerous part isn't just the physical risk. It's the quiet mental toll it takes. The way it gnaws at a man's confidence. The way it turns what should be a private moment of peace into something tinged with anxiety. That's why I tell my patients, don't just endure. Observe. If you notice post-orgasm discomfort that lasts more than 24 hours, or a pattern of urinary issues that spike after arousal, don't guess. Come in, we'll check things. Often, a few small changes, hydration, pelvic floor stretches, anti-inflammatory support, can restore balance. But the first step is taking the signals seriously. So many of these issues go unnoticed because we've been trained not to talk about them. Touching yourself, especially at an older age, gets tucked into this mental file marked shame or weakness. I've seen men carry deep guilt, not because of what they're doing, but because of what it represents to them. To some, it feels like failure, a sign that they're alone or no longer sexually desirable. Others are haunted by religious messages from their youth or harsh words they heard growing up. Even men in loving relationships sometimes hide the fact that they still need this form of release. They think it's a betrayal or that it means something's lacking. But what if we looked at it differently? What if instead of treating it like a secret, we treated it like a kind of care, a ritual of connection, not just with the body but with the self? Solo pleasure isn't the absence of intimacy. It can be its own quiet form, a way to stay in touch with who you are, with what stirs in you beneath the surface. For men who have lost partners or whose relationships have changed over time, this can be a lifeline, a reminder that desire didn't die with youth, that you are still a sensual being. I remember one patient, Henry, who'd been married for over 40 years. His wife had been diagnosed with advanced dementia. She no longer recognized him most days. And in the evenings, when the house grew still, he would feel this deep, aching loneliness. He told me once, almost in a whisper, that he still touched himself, but not out of lust. "It's like, I just want to remember I'm still here," he said, "that I still feel something." That moved me, because that's the truth most men don't say out loud. This isn't just about sex. It's about presence, identity, the primal human need to feel alive in one's own skin. And that's why I believe we need to talk about this. Not in hushed jokes or locker room banter, but with reverence, with understanding. When a man feels safe in his own body, when he learns how to care for it with respect, everything changes. His confidence, his health, even the way he connects to others. But that change begins with unlearning the rush, the grip, the shame. It begins with listening, and it continues with small, thoughtful steps, adjustments that honor the man you are now, not the boy you once were. In the next part of our conversation, I'll walk you through what those steps actually look like, how to create a ritual of touch that supports your body instead of straining it, how to work with sensation rather than against it, and how to move forward with both clarity and care. Because this journey isn't over. You're not past your prime. You're simply in a different season, and it's one that can be rich, meaningful, and deeply satisfying, if you know how to listen. So, how do you begin again? This time not from a place of habit or pressure, but from curiosity and care? The answer lies in slowing down. Most men are surprised by how much their body responds not to intensity, but to gentleness. The old model said speed and release were the goals, but after 60, the body responds differently. It wants time, it wants warmth, it wants to be asked, not taken. And the truth is, when you slow the process down, not just physically, but mentally, you start to notice things you'd missed for years. The feel of your breath deepening, the way certain touches awaken warmth rather than just urgency, the quiet hum of presence returning to your limbs. One of the most immediate shifts I recommend to my patients is this. Stop treating masturbation like a task to complete. Let it become a kind of ritual. Set the stage for comfort, low lighting, a warm space, no rush. That alone tells the nervous system it's safe to relax. Use lubrication, not as an accessory, but as an essential tool, especially with thinner skin and reduced natural moisture. Choose one that's gentle and hydrating. Take time to massage it in, not just to the penis, but around the thighs, the lower belly, the perineum. These areas often carry tension and can benefit from soft touch. Let arousal be something that arises, not something you force. Think of it like listening to music you love. The pleasure isn't in rushing to the final note, it's in the way the melody unfolds. Many men over 60 notice that direct stimulation doesn't work the same way it used to. That's not failure. That's invitation. The body is asking for something broader, more varied sensation, more emotional presence. Some find that including the breath, even vocalizing softly, helps release tension stored in the chest and pelvis. Others discover new sources of pleasure in places they never explored before. Gentle pressure behind the scrotum, the sensation of warmth from a heated towel across the lower back, even simply resting one hand on the heart while the other explores. These aren't tricks. They're forms of listening. You're not chasing an orgasm, you're reconnecting with your body as it is now, not as it was 20 years ago. And when climax does come, and it still can, even if it takes more time or arrives more softly, don't rush past it. Stay there for a moment. Breathe into it. Feel what happens in your legs, your face, your belly. Allow the body to fully arrive, and then settle. There's no need to leap up, clean up, and get back to the day as if it didn't happen. Let yourself linger. Pleasure is not a mistake. It's part of being alive. What surprises many men is how this gentle, respectful approach doesn't just improve the physical experience. It shifts something deeper. It softens the armor we've been taught to carry. It lets emotion rise up in unexpected ways. Grief, joy, even a bittersweet tenderness. I've had men tell me they cried after touching themselves this way for the first time. Not out of sadness, but release. They said it was the first time in years they didn't feel judged by their own body. That, to me, is healing. That is what we should be talking about when we talk about men's health. Not just function, but freedom. The truth is, self-pleasure after 60 isn't just possible. It can be profound. But only if you let go of the myths. The myth that it's supposed to be fast. The myth that it's only about climax. The myth that needing it means you're alone or unlovable. You are not a problem to be fixed. You are a body to be heard. And what that body is asking for now is not what it asked for when you were 25. That's not failure. That's growth. There's one more truth I want to leave with you. You are still a sensual being. Not because you're chasing your youth, but because you are still here. Your skin still holds memory. Your breath still stirs with longing. And that longing isn't shameful. It's sacred. Too many men bury that part of themselves as they age, thinking it's over. But I'm telling you now, it doesn't have to be. Whether you're single or partnered, grieving or rebuilding, touch can be a way back to yourself. A quiet reminder that you matter. Not for what you do, but simply because you are. And if you've been hiding this part of your life, carrying worry or embarrassment, I want you to hear this from me clearly. You are not broken. You are not doing it wrong. You are simply entering a new chapter of intimacy. One where the rules are softer, the timing slower, but the meaning deeper. Your body is not a machine that's wearing out. It's an instrument learning a different song. I've walked with hundreds of men through this transition, and every time when they let go of the old script, the rush, the grip, the shame, and begin to explore with curiosity instead of judgment, something beautiful returns. Not just pleasure, not just confidence, but a quiet kind of wholeness, a feeling of being at home again. So if something in this conversation stirred something in you, maybe a question, a bit of unease, or a strange sense of hope, don't ignore it. That feeling is your deeper self asking to be listened to. Maybe it's time for you to make a change. Not a drastic one, not an overhaul, just a shift in the way you approach your own body. Maybe tonight or tomorrow morning, you take an extra moment. You breathe, you touch slowly, you pay attention, and in that pause, something opens. You've lived long enough to deserve touch without shame. You've endured enough to earn peace in your own skin. And you've loved enough to know that intimacy isn't about what others give you. It starts with how you receive yourself. If this message resonates, I invite you to keep exploring. There's more to say, more to learn, and more healing to be had. You can leave a comment if something here connected with you. Your story may help another man who's still unsure. You can subscribe if you want to keep walking this path of grounded, honest health together. But most importantly, take this with you. Your body still belongs to you. Your pleasure still belongs to you. And your time is not over. It's simply changing. And if you listen closely, it might just be asking you to come home.